I want to welcome everybody here. My name is Magali Michael. I am the Campus Dean of Arts and Sciences here in St. Petersburg. We're very glad to have all of you here. I'm really glad to be here because it's been a year and a half since I've been able to welcome people in person. We've done all these sessions online, which is just not the same, especially then you don't get to walk around our beautiful campus, which is very sad. So we're really happy to have you here. As you know, St. Petersburg is one of the 3 campuses of USF. We really enjoy being here. One of the great strengths of this campus is we have a fabulous faculty. Because we're a little smaller, we have slightly smaller size classes, and that allows students to get to know their professors a little better and get to know each other better. When you walk around campus, you will see your classmates, you will see your professors outside the classroom. Right now, I'm not teaching as in my position as dean, but I get to know the students just because I see them on campus all the time. I see them in the building in which my office is. I see them at events, and we talk. And so that is something that makes this campus, we think, quite special. The other positive thing is that while it is a small campus and has the feel of a smaller liberal arts college, it is within a large research institution, and so has a lot of resources for students. For example, no matter what your major is, if there's a class in your major that is offered on one of the other campuses, you're allowed to take them. You know, let's say we don't offer it, but it's offered there. You're allowed to take it. Either if it's an in-person and you have a car, you can drive there. The campuses all offer some online classes too, and so you're allowed to take them. If you start out with a major here, and all of a sudden you want to change your major to one that's not offered here but is offered on one of the other campuses, you can move to one of the other campuses. So we have students who spend, let's say, 2 years here, do a lot of their general education, start with a major, and then they switch and then can move. We had a student recently who decided, I really want to do engineering. Well, we don't have engineering here, but the student had done a lot of the prerequisites and was able to change over. So there are a lot of pluses. If you're not quite sure, you're still fine choosing this campus. I'd have to make sure this works. So basically, our goal is to produce people who are ready to go out and find a good job by having developed a lot of skills, but really we also want to produce engaged and productive citizens. I mean, that's the key to education. So we offer lots of different kinds of majors on this campus. So in the area of science and math, we offer a degree in integrated biology. It's actually our biggest major here. We have a major in environmental science and policy, a major in geospatial analysis and geography. We also have some brand new science majors. We have a major that's been going for 2 years in computational and applied mathematics, which is quite strong if you're really interested in mathematics, but really like the applied side to it. We have a sustainability studies program, which is actually interdisciplinary. We developed it in response to students who are really interested in issues of sustainability, but didn't actually want to be scientists. So you take some science classes, but you also take a lot of social science classes and business classes. We partnered with the College of Business. And that way you're ready to go out and work for companies or governmental agencies or nonprofits that focus on sustainability, because most companies now focus on sustainability also, and support that work. You can't just have scientists working on sustainability. You have to have people who support it and do all of the work around that. Oh, I forgot to mention, we also have a degree program in environmental chemistry that is launching next fall. It will be a basic chemistry degree plus a focus on environmental chemistry. So all the electives that you usually would get with a chemistry degree will focus on environmental chemistry, and there's a lot of environmental science courses that you will be able to take too. Then we offer quite an array of social science courses. We've got anthropology, We have psychology. Psychology is actually our second biggest major on campus. We have an interdisciplinary social sciences degree, a political science degree, an economics degree, and then a journalism and digital communication degree. So lots of different social science degrees. And then in the humanities, we have a degree in history, degree in English, and a degree in professional and technical communication. And while you're looking at undergraduate degree, I just want to point out that we have 4 master's degree on our campus, and some students move into one of these master's degree when they're done. One in conservation biology, which is very focused. A Florida Studies, which is interdisciplinary, so people focus in the sciences, social sciences, and humanities. They're in that program. We have a master's degree in digital journalism that can be done in person or online or a combination of the two, and we have a psychology master's degree. Here, this is just to kind of give you a sense of what you will be doing here. We've got some general education that all students at all universities have to take to get a good grounding for your education. And also, for those of you who are not as sure what you want to do, it allows you to kind of experiment with different courses and find out, what you would really like to do. Then, obviously, at some point, either right away or at some point, you start taking courses in your major, pretty focused, and then you've got electives so that you can test out other things. Again, some people know exactly what they want to do right when they arrive and they stick with it, and then your path is very straight. For some of you, you don't really know yet what you want to do. And so again, you just test out things at the beginning and then start moving towards your major. And so would focus more on general education electives at the beginning to do that. Because there are some areas that aren't taught in high school, and so you don't know that you might really have a passion for it. The other thing to think about is that in many ways, it doesn't really matter what your major is, as long as you do really well in your studies and that you really learn some very basic skills, especially skills of critical thinking and of writing well and of communicating well, and that will be able to support you in almost any, quote, job you have later. In fact, most people, if you meet people, have jobs that you don't even know exist, right? There are so many jobs. When you ask a little child what they want to be when they grow up, they think about, teacher, policeman, doctor, astronaut, right? As if these were the only things one could do. But, there are thousands more, even more than that, of jobs out there that require all sorts of different skills. So no matter what you end up doing, as long as you put your all in it and really work hard and develop all sorts of, skills of, again, critical thinking and all of that, you will do well. When they interview CEOs of companies, that's what they always say. They say, we want people who can think well, who can communicate well, who, orally and in written form, and we can teach them the very specific skills we want at our company. So, unless you want to be, unless you really want to, go to medical school, and even there, there are students who all you need is your pre-med classes. You actually don't have to have a biology or chemistry degree to go to medical school. In fact, I have known students who major in English, in philosophy, who have gone on to medical school, and usually they get in like this. Because if you can get good grades in all the pre-med requirement and get a major in a completely other field, the medical schools are like, oh, cool, this is a really bright person who can do all sorts of things. So you just never know. Same with the law. You can have almost any major and then go to law school as long as you do well on, the test you need to take to get in. So there's a lot of things out there for you. Let's see. We also here on campus, especially because we're a little smaller and we are kind of in downtown St. Pete, we have a lot of experiential learning for you. including a lot of internships. And if you can think about it, if you walk out the campus and look around, we're in the middle of the city. Our students can just walk over to internship sites. In the College of Arts and Sciences, we have a dedicated internship coordinator. Students meet with her, talk to her about what they're interested in, and she helps them find an internship. And most majors allow you to do an internship for credit, so it's one of your classes. It's not like you have to find time in the middle of your schedule. It is actually one of your classes, and a faculty member mentors you and works with you in that internship. In fact, most majors either require or highly recommend either an internship or an independent research project. And faculty will spend time with you as you work on those. And then within your courses, there's a lot of faculty who work in projects that are kind of connected to the real world outside the university. So we do a lot of things to really kind of embed the learning on the university within the kind of external world, the world external to the university, right? We also have lots of study abroad programs. Those are for all of USF. So faculty from all the campuses will lead these experiences, but you can choose any of it. And so there's a lot of possibilities. Obviously, they were halted for a while due to the pandemic, but they are starting up again. We also send students to the Washington Center in Washington, D.C. For semesters, so that's another possibility. So there's a lot of possibilities out there. This is just a slide about our marine biology program and some of the research that some of our students have done, including going out on a ship that's parked out there and doing, hands-on work. And here, anthropology, where we actually have some sites near here that one of our faculty members is going to tell you about. So we always like to have at least one faculty member kind of talk to you a little bit about what they do in their program. So today, Dr. Arthur is going to talk about our anthropology major.
Good morning, everybody. Everybody hear me? I'm not used to talking to a microphone. I usually have a loud enough voice I can get through to everybody. It's wonderful to see everybody. Thank you for coming. So let's talk about anthropology. If you're not familiar with anthropology, anthropology is the study of humans across time and space. So from our earliest ancestors all the way to today, and then solving the world's problems today and into the future. So we have a very active anthropology program here. We've got 5 faculty that are on this campus. Dr. Kathy Arthur and myself, we've been working in Ethiopia since 1995. We've taken 11 students to Ethiopia, undergraduate USF St. Petersburg students. Everything was paid for under the National Science Foundation grants that we received. They worked with us for about 2 to 3 months, gained a lot of experience, worked with international researchers that are part of our project. So they get that experiential research and experience that they can then, when they graduate, either get a great job or go on to graduate school. Dr. Anna Dixon, she works as an ethnobotanist. She focuses on the Pacific Islands. She teaches an array of classes for us, from everything from forensics to cultural anthropology, biological anthropology. Dr. O'Leary works in India. She works with on sustainability issues with water, especially in impoverished communities in Mumbai. And she also does sustainability of water along the coast here in Florida. And Dr. Chap Kusimba works in the Indian Ocean between East Africa and India, looks at state-level society. So we encompass a big chunk of the world, and we have an honors program, Lambda Alpha, so we have an induction ceremony every spring. Students come before they graduate, and that is only on this campus. That Lambda Alpha. Tampa doesn't have it. I know I don't say that kind of stuff. So it makes us unique. And then we have a very active anthropology club. So students go out, on the weekends they go kayaking, they go out to different restaurants that serve different cultural foods, and it really brings a sense of community to the students. So as you can see, this is our spring 2022 schedule. We teach, like Dean Michael said, array of classes that go from everything from general education. So every semester I teach a general education class, so I usually teach the freshman and sophomore students. And then we go into more upper division classes. So for example, next semester I'm teaching Florida archaeology. I will take my students out to Weeden Island, which is a Indian mound site that dates to the last 2,000 years, and we go out and excavate and do archaeology for about 5 weeks out there. So we give, again, our classes are really kind of focused, and I think we take pride in, we make our students work hard, a lot of writing, oral presentations, but all of our students, when they get out with a degree, have been very successful in getting jobs or going into graduate school. We have 4 internships available every semester, ranging from cultural anthropology, so working with cultural anthropologists on an international scale, looking at social media, marketing, legal issues, archaeology, whether it's Native American heritage or African American heritage here in St. Petersburg. So again, these are for upper division students that have done well, and gives them that opportunity to get that experience. So you might be asking, what can you do with an anthropology degree? Like Dean Michael said, you can do anything you want. We've had students that have become paramedics, teachers, some have become professors. They've gotten into prestigious universities both in the United States and over in Europe. So we really pride ourselves in knowing our students. We have small classrooms, and we try to work with all our students to give them that opportunity to be successful. And so I'll turn it over to questions for Dean Michael and myself, if you have any. So thank you very much.
Yeah, does anyone have questions for us? Any questions you have? Yes?
For your marine biology classes, I know it's going to be more junior and senior year, but I know you showed some images of it. Do you guys actually have your own research vessels that you're able to take out to gather data or study the environment out there?
So the College of Arts and Sciences doesn't have vessels, but we partner with, there is a graduate school, graduate college of marine science, which is right next door, the building next door, which is part of USF. And so some of our faculty work with the faculty in the graduate school there, and we'll take some students to do research. So it's not like they're going to take a whole class out there, but as I said before, a lot of our faculty does independent research with students. So the students are really helping the professor out in the research they do. And I will add something here. Because we don't have any doctoral students here on our campus, we have a few master students, but a lot of undergraduates get to work in research labs with our faculty in higher numbers in larger campuses where there's a lot of doctoral students, and they're the ones who are working in the research labs. So there is that opportunity. So what happens is people take classes, especially upper division classes, get to know their professors, and then talk to them about, oh, I really like your research, I'm interested, do you have room in your lab for me to work with you? And they form partnerships like that. So yeah, the opportunities are there. Other questions? Yes?
You mentioned sustainability phase earlier. What specifically was students learn about in those courses?
Can you speak up just a little?
You mentioned sustainability studies earlier. What specifically would students learn in those courses?
So a variety of things, So, well, in their science courses, they will learn the basic scientific knowledge we have in the business school. There are courses that kind of focus on how businesses, think about or take sustainability into their business plans, into what they do, how they make choices for their businesses. In the social science courses, it depends. I think we have some anthropology courses in sustainability. Do you know what they're focused on?
Mostly like, Dr. O'Leary focuses on water quality issues like the red tide that's along the Florida coast. Things that are happening, today to try to solve, present day problems. Water is like one of the biggest problems around the world. There's, 2 billion people do not have clean water around the world. So those kind of questions in terms of social science would be the things that you would be focused on. But it depends on the student's interest. And that, say you went to your professor and say, I'm interested in this study on sustainability, then we try to cater to your interest so that we want you to do things that you're interested in, because then you'll be motivated, right, to do that research.
So there'll be like some required courses that, okay, everyone who's, going to be working sustainability should know X, Y, Z. And then there's a lot of electives, so that depending on your interest, you would choose. Some people choose to take extra business courses, extra social science, or extra science, right? Depending on what they're interested. One of the required courses, for example, is instead of taking a regular chemistry course, it's a chemistry of sustainability course, right? So that it's a chemistry course, but it focuses specifically on sustainability, and then the projects and assignments are focused on that. And that's a required course. Does that answer your question? Okay. Yes.
Yeah, are we gonna get to talk to somebody that's over the digital journalism program?
I don't know if that is part of, but do you have any specific questions that I could try to answer?
My daughter's interested. She probably know what it is. I don't know.
Well, digital journalism is basically, journalism has, as you know, has shifted a lot, all right? You don't just have newspapers. And so it's kind of teaching you how to report, how to write in multiple media. So for example, now journalists are like, they write a story, so you got the long version that goes into print, or the online version of the newspaper. But then you've got the shorter version that goes somewhere else, and you've got the tiny one that goes on Facebook, or so learning how to do like multi-platform kinds of writing, and also how to report. We also have, they've developed something, it's called a neighborhood news bureau here, the journalism department. So they've embedded what a news bureau would look like in South St. Pete, and learn what does it mean to report for your community. Because most journalists start with, reporting on their own communities or working for smaller, organization. And learn how to do that.
Do you partner with like radio stations, TV stations? Do you do that?
They do a lot of partnering, and as I said, this neighborhood news bureau, they create stories, and they actually sometimes feed them and get them published by media in the area. So absolutely, and they do tons of internships. Again, even at the Tampa Bay Times, for example, or like on all levels of internships. But hopefully you might be able to talk to someone from that department during your time here. Yes?
I'm planning on majoring in classics, but I didn't know until just today, as a matter of fact, that it's not offered on this campus. So would the entrance to the anthropology program focus on that sort of ancient civilization thing?
Oh yeah, certainly. Classics parallels anthropology. So even though you might be interested in going to Italy to do research, or someplace in Europe on Roman sites or Greek sites, we give you the skills so that you can go and do that anywhere in the world. So maybe you're interested in classics now, but then you realize, you take a class and you're like, I want to do hominid research in East Africa. You could go do that. So it doesn't really matter. We just give you that set of skills, make sure that you're ready, and then you can go and apply to graduate school anywhere. You could go to, we have one person over in Tampa that does work on classical sites in Italy, but he's in the anthropology department. So we just give you those methods and the theory so that you can go out and work anywhere, including classical sites. If you wanted to write a paper on a classical site, you can tailor papers into that for whatever class that you're working in. So we really work with the students. We know our students. We know all their names. That's something that because I don't have any graduate students, the undergrads are our legacy. So we want them to go out and succeed. And so we take a lot of pride in that.
I was going to say, we just put up a display of anthropology. If you walk through the building that's Davis, I don't know if you've taken a tour yet, there's a big display case of anthropology, and actually one of our best students helped the professor and did all the layout, learning what it would be like almost to work for a museum, basically. That was a project she worked on, and it looks beautiful. So if you're up there. And I will add, if you're interested in classics, you know that field is changing, and lots of departments of classic at universities that have them, it used to be mostly languages, and now it's really moving. There's usually a choice of doing more, archaeology and anthropology, or there's people who are moving, sticking to the literature and language. So it just depends what you're interested in. And as I said, you also can, take courses on other campuses, so there is, kind of a wide array of what people can do. Yes?
Do you have minors available at the St. Petersburg campus?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, in most fields.
Yeah, so you can minor in anthropology, you can minor in psychology. So we have psychology students that are minoring in anthropology, biology students, so yeah.
Yes?
Is it okay if you can touch on the creative writing program that I saw?
Okay. Yeah, the English department at USF offers different direction. They offer an English degree which has two concentrations, one in literature and one in creative writing. So that would be, if you're interested in creative writing, you will go that track. And then the other degree they offer is in technical and professional writing, which is a little bit different.
Is it in this campus?
There is definitely more creative writing instruction on the Tampa campus than here. But there are some courses here, but if you wanted to do all creative writing, then you probably would want to be on the Tampa campus. But, so it just depends what you're interested in. We do have a lot of people, you're talking about majoring in something and minoring in something. There's a lot of people who minor in creative writing, and then you could probably do that here. People who are really interested in creative writing but are like, well, but I don't know what I can, I also want to do something else. So they do like journalism, or they do the professional and technical writing, because any kind of writing skills you do, that is transferable to other things.
But you can start in this campus, then slowly you can move to that.
Yeah, I think there's a process of, kind of applying to move to one of the other campuses because to take a major that is elsewhere. Absolutely. And certainly if you're coming in as a first-year student and you don't have a lot of credits from elsewhere, your first year is a lot of the general education requirements anyways. And so it's a good place to kind of test things out. And yes, we do have people who transfer after the first year or the second year if they end up choosing a major that's not on this campus. And it's the same on all the other campuses. For example, someone was just asking about journalism. The journalism department is actually on this campus. And so if you want to do the journalism and digital communication, you would come to this campus. You might start elsewhere, but then you would come here because it's not offered on the other campuses. So it really depends what you end up being interested in. But there is a lot of flexibility because across the three campuses, there's almost everything you could possibly want to major in. Yes.
I know study abroad was mentioned. How exactly does that work? Like, is it for a few weeks, a semester, and like, is it sort of like an exchange program where it's partnered with another university across the seas, and then they send students over here?
There are certain exchanges, but no, usually it is a faculty member who kind of creates a course, and it usually, well, there's several ones. You can take a USF course where they take you abroad, and there's two kinds. Usually it's during the summer, anywhere from 4 weeks to 8 weeks kind of thing during the summer, and you're with your group. And sometimes they partner with another university. I know some of the language ones do, so that they're actually in class with people from that country. And then they have some spring break ones. So as a kind of first start, it's a class where integrated in it is a spring break trip somewhere. I know I taught one once, not here, but at another university. It was a travel writing course, and then we spent spring break in Paris. It was great. And then the students came back and wrote all their papers on their travels there. And then the university also partners with other kind of universities here and abroad, where you can stay for a whole semester at a working at a university in another country. So there's everything from a spring break, 1 week trip, all the way to a full semester.
Sorry, so I know you mentioned this summer, like you could spend like a summer abroad. Now, I know in the state of Florida, in order to graduate from college or university, you have to take at least one summer semester. Would studying abroad count as that summer semester, or do you still need a summer semester at the actual university like USF?
I don't know. No one's asked me that question, so I would have to find that out. I think you have to take up at least 2 summer courses.
6 hours.
Yeah, so it's not like, a huge, and it can be any of the summers, right? So it's not all of them. I suspect it doesn't count because it's abroad, but I actually don't know, because since you're registering that summer, it might. I don't actually know. Do you know?
I don't. It's a good question.
I'm sorry, but yes, if you give me your name afterwards, I will find out.
So thank you. One more question.
Yeah.
Who helps with, military, students, like, with the?
We have a whole office, and I suspect somebody on this, who's organizing today can point you to someone. We usually have someone around who can talk. But yes, we have a whole office that works with military students.
It's very active. They're
Very
good,
active.
yeah. Very supportive.
Yes.
So that would be like in the admissions office, where would we find them?
Well, they have their own office. Again, let me afterwards see if I can someone will be able to help us with that, and if not, I'll take your name and we'll send you information, because there's definitely a whole office that deals with that.
Thank you.
And they're not part of admissions, they're their own office, because they actually work with students from day 1 to graduation and help them along the way, and they have, study groups, they have all sorts of things going. And I think they have a lounge area, they have a lot of things.
So everybody's going to be an anthropology major now? I'm so happy. Thank you.
I will.
Okay.
I know, whenever I see the slides, I'm like, I want to go back to school. Any other questions that you might have? Yes?
I figure since I'm still here, so I know usually for internships and research opportunities, at least for undergraduates, that's usually for juniors and seniors. Now as a freshman or even a sophomore, what are some advice you would give to them in order to build themselves up so they can get those internships and research opportunities?
Again, is to take advantage of it, really build up your skills. And talk to the internship coordinator right away to say, okay, how can I build up my my resume to make it look like what they will want. We actually do have some opportunities even for freshmen and sophomores. There's a program of working with, you're paired up with someone in the business community to start to get to know what's going on, and then, it moves on the second semester to allow you to spend a little more time there. So there are opportunities, even as early, really I would say, as your sophomore year, except for this first year program. So I would say that if you're really interested in internship, go talk to our internship coordinator your first semester and say, okay, what should I do? But really, it's about building up skills. Most people, if they want an intern, they want somebody, again, who can, communicate well orally and in written form. All right, I'm getting some signals that we're out of town.
Can I just add to that?
Yeah.
Do well in your classes.
Yes.
Get to know your professors. I have a lab here. Students come to my lab and work, starting when they're freshmen. If they, they're dedicated, they work hard. I know I can recommend that those students to go work in an internship. I don't have to worry about them as I'm supervising them as they're working in different agencies. So that's really the key. Just get to know your professors. And do well in the classes. It's not, it's not rocket science. It's, do that, you're golden, really.
And that's a very good point, that you need recommendations for all sorts of things, when you leave for jobs, but also for internships, for smaller jobs along the way, and getting
Graduate
to know
school.
your professors is key to that. Because it's really hard, having been asked to do it, it's really hard to write a good letter of recommendation for someone you've had in class who has never come to talk to you. You're like, well, okay, they were in class. There's not a whole lot, or, they did well. But if you can't say anything personable about them, it's not a strong letter of recommendation. So that's very important. Well, thank you all very much, and I hope you get a chance to look around campus, and I'm happy to answer the couple questions that I couldn't answer right away.